The dust never settled on Cathera 7. Lieutenant Jake Morrison wiped his visor for the third time that hour as his team moved through the ancient ruins. The wind carried red sand that got into everything, making each step a challenge. His boots crunched on stones that had been untouched for thousands of years. "How deep does this place go?" Private Lisa Chen asked through the radio. She walked beside him, holding a scanner that beeped steadily as they descended another set of stairs carved into black stone. "Deep enough to hide something important," Jake replied. He checked his weapon out of habit. 20 years in the military had taught him that important things were usually dangerous things. Behind them, Corporal Danny Torres and Sergeant Kate Williams kept their rifles ready. The four of them had been together for 3 years, exploring dead worlds and cataloging what humanity found as it spread across the stars. This job was supposed to be routine. Ancient ruins, possible technology, standard survey work, but something felt wrong. The stairs led them into a massive chamber. Jake stopped at the entrance and stared. The room was enormous, easily the size of a football field. The walls were covered in strange symbols that seemed to glow faintly in the darkness. Crystal pillars rose from floor to ceiling, each one humming with a sound just below hearing. "Beautiful," Kate whispered. Lisa was already scanning the walls. Her device lit up with data. "These symbols, they're in multiple languages, not just one alien species. Dozens of them. Can you read any of it?" Jake asked. Lisa moved closer to the nearest wall, her translator working overtime. "I'm getting fragments. Something about a warning. The words last, Blood Queen, and never wake keep repeating." Danny laughed nervously. "Great. We found a tomb with a warning. That always ends well in the movies." Jake ignored him and walked toward the center of the room. There, sitting on a raised platform, was something that made his breath catch. A coffin. But not like any coffin he had ever seen. It was made of crystal so clear it looked like glass, filled with glowing red liquid. And inside, perfectly preserved, was a woman. "Contact the ship," Jake said quietly. "Tell them what we found." Kate moved to the side, setting up the communication equipment. Lisa and Danny joined Jake at the platform, all three staring at the figure in the coffin. She looked young, maybe in her early 20s. Her skin was pale, almost white. Dark hair floated in the red liquid around her face. She wore armor that looked both ancient and advanced, with designs that hurt to look at too closely. Her hands were folded on her chest. "Is she human?" Danny asked. "Similar," Lisa said, studying her scanner. "But not quite. Look at the bone structure. And these readings. If I didn't know better, I'd say she was still alive." "That's impossible," Danny said. "This place is thousands of years old." Jake leaned closer. The woman's face was peaceful, like she was just sleeping. Something about her made him feel both afraid and sad at the same time. What was so dangerous about her that they had to lock her away like this? "Maybe we should leave her that way," Kate said from across the room. She had finished with the communications but looked worried. Those warnings were pretty clear. Danny knelt beside the base of the platform, examining the mechanisms underneath. "Look at this technology. If we can figure out how this stasis system works, it could be worth millions, maybe billions." "Don't touch anything," Jake ordered, but it was too late. Danny's hand brushed against a hidden panel. The room exploded with light and sound. The crystal pillars began to glow brighter. The symbols on the walls pulsed with red light. Ancient machinery hidden in the walls roared to life after centuries of silence. The platform started to rise. "Shut it down," Jake shouted. Lisa ran to the nearest control panel, her fingers flying over holographic displays that appeared in the air. "I can't. The system is automated. It's been waiting for someone to trigger it." The red liquid in the coffin began to drain. They could see it flowing through tubes in the platform, disappearing into holes in the floor. The woman's body became more visible as the liquid level dropped. "Everyone back," Jake ordered. His team moved away from the platform, weapons raised. The last of the liquid drained away. For a moment, nothing happened. The room fell silent except for the hum of the crystal pillars. Then the woman's eyes opened. They were bright red, glowing like burning coals. She sat up in one smooth motion, her movements unnaturally fast. Before anyone could react, she was out of the coffin and standing on the platform, her head turning to look at each of them. Danny raised his rifle. The woman moved like lightning. 1 second she was on the platform. The next she had Danny pinned against the wall, her hand around his throat. His rifle clattered to the floor. "Don't shoot!" Jake yelled as Kate and Lisa aimed their weapons. The woman spoke in a language Jake had never heard. The words sounded ancient, full of power and anger. Then she stopped, her eyes narrowing. Her free hand touched the side of Danny's head, right where his neural implant was. When she spoke again, it was in perfect English. Where am I? What year is this? Why am I awake? Her voice was cold and commanding. Danny gasped for air but couldn't speak with her hand on his throat. Let him go, Jake said, lowering his weapon slowly. We can talk. We didn't mean to wake you. The woman looked at Jake, really looked at him. Her red eyes seemed to see right through him. You are human. I can smell your blood from here, but different from the humans I knew. Evolved. She released Danny, who collapsed to the floor, coughing. Kate rushed to help him while Lisa kept her weapon trained on the woman. My name is Lieutenant Jake Morrison, Jake said, keeping his voice calm. We're explorers from Earth. We didn't know anyone was here. The woman stepped down from the platform. She moved with perfect grace like a predator. Earth, that primitive world on the edge of the galaxy. You have reached the stars. How long was I asleep? These ruins are at least 5,000 years old, Lisa said. The woman closed her eyes for a moment and Jake saw pain cross her face. 5,000 years. My empire is dust. My people are gone. I am alone. Who are you? Jake asked. She opened her eyes and stood straighter, pride filling her voice. I am Princess Valeria, last daughter of the Sanguine Empire. We ruled this sector of space when your species was still living in caves. We were powerful beyond your understanding, and we were hunted to extinction by those who feared us. Why? Jake asked. Because we were too good at creating peace, Valeria said bitterly. My people could bond with other species, create hybrid children who carried our gifts. We united worlds, ended wars, and the old powers could not control a united galaxy, so they destroyed us. She swayed suddenly, putting a hand on the platform to steady herself. Jake saw that she was weak, her skin even paler than before. You need help, he said. Valeria looked at him with those burning red eyes. I need to feed. My kind can survive centuries in stasis, but once awake we must have sustenance. Genetic material. Life energy. She smiled, showing teeth that were just slightly too sharp. And I will need a mate. Before Jake could respond, alarms started blaring throughout the chamber. Lisa checked her scanner and went pale. Ships entering orbit. Multiple contacts. They're not human. Valeria's smile vanished. They felt me wake. The Kreth, the same species that destroyed my empire. They have been watching this tomb for thousands of years, waiting. She looked at Jake. If you want to live, human, you will help me reach your ship, because they will kill all of us just for being here. Jake made a decision in seconds. Everyone move. Back to the Falcon. Now. As they ran for the stairs, Valeria close behind them, Jake realized his routine mission had just changed everything. For him, for his team, and maybe for all of humanity. They had awakened something ancient and powerful, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Falcon's edge shook as weapons fire lit up the space around it. Jake gripped the controls while his team scrambled to their stations. Behind him, Valeria stood perfectly still despite the violent movements of the ship, watching the enemy vessels through the main viewport. 3 ships, Lisa announced from the sensor station. Heavy cruisers. Kreth design. Can we fight them? Danny asked, manning the weapons console. His throat still showed red marks from where Valeria had grabbed him. No, Jake said flatly. He pushed the engines to maximum. This is a survey ship. We have 2 small cannons. They have enough firepower to destroy a city. Valeria moved forward, her eyes tracking the enemy's ships with inhuman precision. The Kreth are efficient. They will not board us. They will simply destroy the ship and search the debris to confirm my death. That's not happening, Kate said from the medical station. She was preparing emergency supplies, her hands steady despite the danger. Jake plotted a jump to hyperspace. The navigation computer showed red warnings. Engines are damaged. We took hits getting out of the atmosphere. If we jump now, we might make it. Or we might tear the ship apart. Do it, Valeria said. A chance of death is better than certain death. Another explosion rocked the ship. Jake's decision was made for him. He activated the hyperspace drive. The universe twisted. Stars stretched into lines. The ship groaned as damaged systems struggled with the jump. For 3 terrible seconds, Jake thought they would break apart. Then space snapped back to normal and they were somewhere else, floating in the darkness between stars. Status, Jake called out. Lisa checked her screens. We made it. But the hyperdrive is burned out. Life support is running on backup. And we're 3 days from the nearest human outpost at normal speed. 3 days with no way to jump if they find us, Danny said. Valeria walked to the center of the bridge and sat down on the floor, her movement suddenly less graceful. Jake noticed that her skin looked even paler, and her hands were shaking slightly. You're getting worse, Kate said, moving toward her with a medical scanner. Stay back, Valeria warned, but her voice was weak. I told you in the ruins. I need to feed. Without it, I will die within days. What exactly do you need? Lisa asked. She had pulled up biological data on her screens, trying to understand. Valeria closed her eyes. My species evolved differently than yours. We were few in number, but incredibly powerful. To survive, we developed a way to bond with other species. The bonding requires genetic exchange through intimate contact. It results in conception. Every feeding produced a potential offspring. The bridge went silent. Jake felt his team looking at him. You mean you need to... Danny started. Reproduce, Valeria finished. Yes, that is how my kind sustains itself. The process strengthens me and creates a hybrid child who carries my abilities. It is not violent. It is not conquest. It is partnership encoded in our biology. That's insane, Danny said. You expect one of us to just volunteer for that? Valeria opened her eyes and looked directly at Jake. Not all humans are compatible. The genetic markers must match. I can sense it in your blood, Lieutenant Morrison. You are compatible. The others are not. Jake felt his heart pound. Me? Your DNA has qualities my species needs. Adaptability, resilience. Your human flexibility would create a strong hybrid. She paused. I do not ask this lightly. But without it, I will die. And the Kreth will hunt your ship until they find you. They cannot risk letting you tell the galaxy what you discovered. So our choices are let you die and get killed by the Kreth, Lisa said slowly. Or Jake helps you and you protect us. That's not a choice, Kate said angrily. That's coercion. It is survival, Valeria replied. For all of us. Jake stood up and walked to the viewport, looking out at the stars. His mind raced. Everything had happened so fast. One day he was a simple military explorer. Now he was being asked to bond with an alien princess and father a hybrid child. Jake, you don't have to do this, Kate said quietly, joining him at the window. Don't I? Jake asked. If I say no, she dies. Then the Kreth kill us. If I say yes, maybe we all survive. It's bigger than that, Lisa said. She had been studying her screens intensely. Jake, look at this. I pulled the data from the temple before we left. The Sanguine Empire wasn't destroyed because they were conquerors. It's the opposite. They created peace by bonding with multiple species. Their hybrid children unified worlds. The Kreth led other species to destroy them because a united galaxy threatened their power. She turned her screen so everyone could see. Images showed the Sanguine Empire at its height. Beautiful cities, multiple species living together. Technology beyond anything humanity had achieved. The Kreth have been controlling the galaxy for thousands of years, Lisa continued. Keeping species separate. Preventing unity. If Valeria is telling the truth and the Sanguine were peacemakers, then humanity needs to know. The whole galaxy needs to know. Jake turned to look at Valeria. She sat on the floor, weak but still dignified. Why should I believe you? How do I know this isn't a trick? That you won't use me and then kill us all? Valeria met his eyes. You don't. You must choose to trust. But consider this, Lieutenant. I am the last of my kind, alone in a galaxy that has forgotten me. If I wanted to conquer, I would have killed you all in that chamber. Instead, I ran with you. I protected you as we escaped, she paused. I do not want to rebuild an empire. I want my species to survive. And for that I need allies, partners, not slaves. Jake thought about his team, about Danny, who annoyed him but was loyal, about Kate, who had patched him up after dozens of injuries, about Lisa, brilliant and curious about everything. They were his family, and they were in danger because of him, because he had led them into those ruins. If I do this, Jake said slowly, I need promises. You protect my team. You share your knowledge with humanity, and you treat the child with respect, not as a tool. Agreed, Valeria said immediately. And one more thing. You explain everything. What the process involves. What happens to me. What happens to the child. No surprises, Valeria nodded. The bonding will strengthen me immediately. You will experience temporary enhancements, Starbound increased strength, Faster healing, sharper senses. These will fade over days as the bond settles. The child will be mostly human in appearance but will carry my abilities. Strength, speed, longevity, and the capacity to bond with others when mature. How long until the child is born? Kate asked, her medical mind already working. 3 months. Sanguine pregnancies are rapid. Danny shook his head. This is crazy. Jake, you're talking about having a child with an alien. A hybrid. We don't know what that means for humanity. I know what it means if we do nothing, Jake replied. We die, and the Kreth keep controlling the galaxy through fear and lies. He looked at each member of his team. I won't order you to support this, but I'm asking you to trust me. Kate spoke first. I trust you, Jake, always have. Lisa nodded. If this is what gives humanity a chance to challenge the old order, then I'm in. Danny was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. You're all insane, but I'm not leaving my team. He looked at Valeria. You hurt him and I'll find a way to kill you. I don't care how powerful you are. Valeria almost smiled. Your loyalty honors you, Corporal Torres. I will not harm him. He is giving me the greatest gift of a future for my people. Jake walked to where Valeria sat and offered his hand. She took it, her grip surprisingly gentle. Her skin was cold but not unpleasant. Show me what needs to be done, Jake said. Valeria stood, using his hand to pull herself up. There is a medical bay on this ship? Yes, Kate said. Follow me. As they walked toward the medical section, Jake felt the weight of his choice. He was about to change everything, grieve for himself, for his team, for humanity. But looking at Valeria, seeing both her strength and her vulnerability, he knew it was the right choice. In the medical bay, Valeria explained the process with clinical detail. Kate monitored everything with her equipment, making sure Jake was safe. The bonding took an hour, and it was nothing like Jake expected. It was gentle, almost peaceful. He felt his DNA shifting, accepting something new. When it was over, Valeria stood straight, her color returned, her eyes bright. She looked powerful again, dangerous and beautiful. Jake felt different too, stronger. His senses were sharper. He could hear the ship's engines in ways he never had before. It is done, Valeria said softly. Thank you, Jake Morrison. You have saved my life and given my species hope. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared through the ship. Lisa's voice came over the intercom. They found us. 3 Kreth ships just dropped out of hyperspace. They're powering weapons. Valeria's smile was fierce. Good. Now I'm strong enough to show them why the galaxy once feared my kind. She looked at Jake. Stay here. Protect the ship. I will handle our enemies. How? Jake asked. Valeria walked to the airlock. My people do not need ships to travel in space, Lieutenant. We are the weapon. She stepped into the airlock. Watch. Learn what it means to have a sanguine as your ally. The outer door opened. Valeria stepped into the vacuum of space without a suit. And Jake watched in amazement as she flew toward 3 warships alone to save them all. Jake watched through the viewport as Valeria moved through space like she was swimming through water. She had no suit, no ship, nothing but her own body. Yet she flew toward the Kreth warships without fear. How is she breathing? Kate whispered beside him. She's not, Lisa said from the sensor station. According to these readings, she's not breathing at all. Her body doesn't need oxygen like ours does. The first Kreth ship fired its weapons. Bright energy beams cut through the darkness toward Valeria. She simply moved around them, her body twisting in ways that should have been impossible. Then she reached the ship's hull. What happened next would stay in Jake's mind forever. Valeria punched through the armored hull like it was paper. The metal tore apart under her hands. She disappeared inside the ship. Through the viewport, Jake could see lights flickering inside the vessel. Explosions bloomed in different sections. The ship went dark. She just destroyed a warship from the inside, Danny said quietly. In less than 3 minutes, the second ship tried to run. Valeria burst out of the dead vessel and flew after it. She was faster than their engines. She caught it, tore open another hole, and disappeared inside. The same thing happened. Lights, explosions, death. The third ship surrendered, its weapons powering down. Valeria appeared on its hull, standing impossibly on the metal surface of the ship. She gestured toward the Falcon. I think she wants us to board, Jake said. He activated the communications. Valeria, can you hear me? Her voice came through clear despite the vacuum. I have left their captain alive, Lieutenant. He has information we need. Bring your ship alongside. I will provide atmosphere. Jake guided the Falcon close to the Kreth vessel. Valeria placed her hands on the damaged hull and somehow sealed it, creating a safe area to dock. The team suited up and crossed over, finding Valeria standing in the Kreth ship's bridge. Bodies lay around her, but she looked untouched. Not a scratch on her. The Kreth captain was alive but terrified. He was tall and thin, with gray skin and too many joints in his arms. His species looked insect-like to human eyes. Valeria held him by the throat against the wall. "Tell them what you told me." The captain spoke in broken English. "We watch many sights. Many tombs where sanguines sleep. Most we destroyed, some hidden. We destroy those too when we find them." "How many sanguine are left?" Valeria demanded. 20. Maybe 25. Scattered across galaxy. We search for them. Lisa was recording everything. This was proof of genocide that had continued for thousands of years. "Why?" Jake asked. "The war ended millennia ago. Why keep hunting them?" The captain's strange eyes focused on Jake. "Because sanguine make unity. Unity makes peace. Peace threatens Kreth control. We rule through division, through fear. Sanguine ended both, so they must stay dead." Valeria's hand tightened. "You murdered my entire species because you wanted power." "Yes," the captain said simply. He did not try to deny it. Valeria threw him aside. "Your fleet. How large?" 50 ships, all gathering. Coming for you. You cannot fight them all, princess. You may be strong, but you are one. We are many. Then I will make more, Valeria said coldly. She turned to Jake's team. "Take what data you can from this ship. We leave in 5 minutes." Back on the Falcon, Lisa worked frantically to copy the Kreth ship's computers. The data showed locations of other sanguine tombs, deployment of Kreth fleets, and most importantly, proof of their crimes. Jake felt strange. Since the bonding, his body had been changing. He was stronger. His reflexes were faster. When he touched the ship's controls, he felt like he understood them better. Like his brain was processing information more quickly. "How are you feeling?" Kate asked, running a medical scanner over him. "Different. Better, actually. Like I've had the best workout and rest of my life at the same time." He looked at his hands. "Is this permanent?" "I don't think so," Kate said, checking her readings. "Your DNA is stabilizing. The sanguine markers are fading slowly. Valeria said the effects would be temporary for you. But Jake, your genetics have been fundamentally altered. You'll never be quite the same." Valeria entered the bridge. She looked tired but strong. "We cannot run forever. The Kreth will follow us anywhere in this sector. So what do?" Danny asked. "We go on the offensive," Valeria said. She brought up a star map. 3 jumps from here is an old sanguine facility. A weapons cache. If it still functions, we can arm ourselves properly. Perhaps find ships that can fight the Kreth fleet. "Can we make 3 jumps with our damaged engines?" Lisa asked. "We'll have to," Jake said. "It's either that or wait here for 50 warships to find us." They made the jumps over the next day. Each one was risky, but the Falcon held together. During the journey, Valeria began teaching Jake about sanguine combat techniques. His enhanced body learned quickly, absorbing movements and strategies that would have taken months to master normally. "Your species is remarkable," Valeria told him during one training session. "Humans adapt faster than any species I have ever encountered. Most beings are locked into their genetics. You change, evolve, integrate new abilities naturally." "Is that why the bonding worked so well?" Jake asked. "Yes. With other species, the hybrids were strong but limited. But your child will be extraordinary. The flexibility of human genetics combined with sanguine power." She placed a hand on her stomach. "I can already feel her growing." "Her?" Jake asked. "A daughter. I can sense it." Valeria smiled, the first real smile Jake had seen from her. She will be the first of her kind, human and sanguine together. They arrived at the sanguine facility and Jake's breath caught. It was massive Umpon, a space station the size of a small moon, orbiting a dead star. Despite thousands of years of abandonment, it still glowed with power. Valeria guided them to a docking port. As they entered, lights activated automatically, responding to her presence. The station was beautiful and alien, with architecture that seemed to flow like water frozen in metal. In the command center, Valeria accessed ancient computers using her genetic signature as a key. Data flooded the screens and Lisa worked to translate it. "There are ships here," Lisa said excitedly. "Intact sanguine warships. And weapons. Technology that makes Kreth firepower look like toys. But the most important discovery was something else. A database of other sanguine survivors. Not just locations, but detailed information about each one. 23, Valeria whispered, tears forming in her eyes. 23 of my people still sleep, waiting to be awakened. Then she found something that made her stop. No, this cannot be. What? Jake asked. The locations. They are encoded. The database requires genetic keys to unlock fully. She turned to Jake. My daughter. The hybrid children. They carry the keys in their DNA. The sanguine knew this would happen. They knew the next generation would be hybrids. They planned for it. So we need your daughter to be born before we can find the others? Kate asked. Yes. In 3 months, when she comes of age enough to provide a genetic sample, we can decode the rest. Before they could discuss it further, alarms blared through the station. What now? Danny asked. Lisa checked the sensors. Ships, 50 of them. The Kreth fleet. Valeria looked at the data and then at Jake. They found us faster than I expected. We have perhaps an hour before they arrive. Can we use these weapons? Jake asked. Yes. But we are 5 people trying to operate a battle station designed for thousands. Valeria pulled up tactical displays. We can hold them for a while, but not forever. And if they destroy this station, the data on the other sanguine dies with it. Then we download it and run, Lisa said. Where? Danny asked. They'll just follow us again. Jake looked at the tactical display. An idea formed, crazy and desperate. What if we don't run? What if we call for help? From who? Kate asked. From everyone. Jake turned to Lisa. Can this station's communications reach across the galaxy? Probably. This technology is way beyond what we have. Then we broadcast the truth, Jake said. We tell every species in the galaxy what the Kreth have been doing. Show them the proof. Let the whole galaxy know that the sanguine weren't monsters. They were peacemakers who were murdered for it. Valeria stared at him. That will cause chaos. Some species will support us. Others will panic. It could start a galactic war. Better than letting the Kreth control everything through lies, Jake replied. Danny nodded slowly. I like it. If we're going down, we take their whole system down with us. Do it, Valeria ordered Lisa. Lisa worked quickly, setting up the broadcast. They gathered every piece of evidence, bonjour recordings from the Kreth captain, data on the genocide, proof of manipulation spanning millennia. As the Kreth fleet approached, Lisa activated the broadcast. The message went out across the galaxy in hundreds of languages. This is Lieutenant Jake Morrison of Earth. The Sanguine Empire was destroyed not for conquest, but for creating peace. The Kreth have lied for thousands of years. We broadcast this truth to all species. The Sanguine have returned. We will not be silent. We will not be controlled. The response was immediate and overwhelming. On dozens of worlds, the message was received. Some celebrated. Others panicked. But everyone heard it. The Kreth fleet arrived and began their attack. Valeria controlled the station's defenses with Jake's help. Ancient weapons fired, powerful enough to destroy ships in single shots. But there were too many enemies. The battle outside the station was chaos. Dozens of ships fought each other while Jake's team tried to keep the defenses running. Valeria moved between control stations with impossible speed, managing systems designed for entire crews. 2 more ships just arrived, Lisa announced. They're broadcasting support for us. Which species? Jake asked. Verax. They say the Sanguine helped their world achieve peace 3,000 years ago. They remember. But others remembered differently. Another group of ships joined the Kreth, species that had been told the Sanguine were monsters. The galaxy was splitting apart, forced to choose sides. We can't keep this up, Danny said. His weapons console showed red warnings everywhere. The station's shields are failing. Jake felt his enhanced senses fading. The temporary strength from the bonding was leaving him. He was becoming human again, though not quite the same as before. But even with fading power, he could see the truth clearly. They needed a miracle. Valeria suddenly grabbed his arm. Something is wrong. What? The child. She's coming early. Valeria's face showed pain for the first time. The stress of battle. My body thinks I'm dying. It's forcing the birth. Kate was already moving, her medical training taking over. Get her to medical now. We're in the middle of a battle. Danny protested, and she's about to give birth. Kate shot back. Jake, help me get her to the medical bay. Jake and Kate supported Valeria as they moved through the station. Lisa and Danny stayed on the bridge, trying to keep the defenses running. Behind them, explosions rocked the station as enemy fire got through the shields. In the medical bay, Kate worked quickly to prepare for the birth. Sanguine biology was similar enough to human that her training applied, but different enough to be dangerous. How long? Jake asked. Minutes, Valeria gasped. Sanguine births are fast. The child needs to survive if the mother might die in battle. You're not dying, Jake said firmly. Valeria gripped his hand. Promise me. If I die, protect her. Raise her to know both her heritages, human and sanguine. Promise me, Jake, I promise. But you're going to live to raise her yourself. The birth was intense and quick. Kate worked efficiently while Jake supported Valeria. Outside, the battle raged. Inside, new life fought to enter the world. And then she was there. A baby girl with pale skin and dark hair crying strongly. When her eyes opened, they were bright red, just like her mother's. Elena, Valeria whispered, holding her daughter for the first time. Her name is Elena. It was a human name. A sign of hope, of integration between species. Kate ran scans on the baby. She's healthy, strong. Her genetic markers are fascinating, definitely more human than sanguine in structure, but with clear sanguine abilities. The moment of peace ended when Danny's voice came through the intercom. We've got a problem. Big problem. Jake ran back to the bridge. On the screens he saw it. The Kreth had sent a massive ship through the battle, ignoring all other vessels. It was heading straight for the station, weapons charging for a final devastating attack. They're going to destroy the whole station, Lisa said. Kill everyone, them, everybody, just to make sure Valeria dies. Valeria appeared on the bridge, still weak from giving birth but holding Elena carefully. I can stop them. You just had a baby, Kate protested. You need to rest. My daughter needs a future to live in. Valeria handed Elena to Jake. Keep her safe. I will return. Wait, Danny said. He had been quiet for most of the mission, suspicious of Valeria. But now he stepped forward. You can't fight them all alone. Not this time. There are too many. What choice do we have? Valeria asked. Danny looked at Jake, then at the baby, then at Valeria. Someone needs to stay here and buy time. Someone needs to make sure that ship doesn't fire while you're fighting. He smiled sadly. I can do that. I can set explosives on the station's core. If that Kreth ship gets too close, I'll blow it. Take them with us, Danny. No, Jake said. It makes sense, boss. You need to get the data about the other sanguine to safety. Lisa needs to share what we found with Earth. Kate needs to help with the baby. Danny checked his weapons. And I need to make sure these genocidal bastards don't win. There has to be another way, Kate said. There isn't. Not one that keeps Elena safe. Danny looked at the baby in Jake's arms. She's the future, right? First of her kind. She matters more than me. Valeria studied Danny carefully. You did not trust me. You suspected me of lying. Why do this? Because I was wrong, Danny said simply. I see that now. You're not trying to conquer anyone. You're just trying to survive. And that kid deserves a chance. He headed for the door. Besides, someone needs to show the Kreth that humans don't give up. Danya, Jake started. Take care of the team, Lieutenant. That's an order from your corporal. Danny grinned. Besides, this way I get to blow up a space station. Always wanted to do that. He left before anyone could stop him. Jake wanted to go after him, but Valeria put a hand on his shoulder. He has made his choice. Honor it by surviving. Over the next 30 minutes, Danny's voice came through the radio as he set charges throughout the station's power core. He joked, made fun of the Kreth, and told stories about the team's past missions. It was his way of saying goodbye. Valeria went back into space, attacking the Kreth forces with renewed fury. Ships exploded under her assault, but the massive vessel continued toward the station, its weapons almost charged. Charges are set, Danny announced. I've got a clear view of that big ship. If it fires at the station, I'll blow the core. The explosion will take it out. Danny, get to an escape pod, Jake pleaded. Pods are all destroyed, boss. Besides, someone needs to make sure this works. I'm not leaving my post. The Kreth ship stopped, weapons fully charged. It was close enough now that Danny's explosion would destroy it. Do they know? Kate asked quietly. They know, Lisa confirmed. Our scans show they're detecting Danny's explosives. There was a standoff in space. The Kreth couldn't fire without being destroyed. But they also wouldn't let the team escape. Then Danny spoke one last time. Hey, Creth Captain. Can you hear me? A voice responded in broken English. We hear you, human. Good, here's the thing. I'm just one guy. One soldier from a species you've never heard of. But I'm willing to die to protect that baby and everything she represents. That's what humans do. We fight for what matters, he paused. You've been controlling the galaxy through fear for thousands of years. But you're afraid now, aren't you? Afraid of one princess and one baby. That says everything about who the real monsters are. You cannot win, the Creth Captain said. Maybe not, but I can take you with me. That's winning enough. The standoff continued for agonizing minutes. Then other ships arrived to reinforcements for both sides. The battle expanded again. In the chaos, Jake saw their chance. We need to leave now. They ran for the Falcon, Valeria joining them. As they prepared to launch, Danny's voice came through one last time. Get out of here, team. Tell Earth what happened. Tell them about the Creth. Tell them about Valeria. He paused. And Jake, tell that little girl her Uncle Danny thought she was worth it. We're not leaving you, Jake said desperately. You don't have a choice. That Creth ship is powering weapons again. They're calling my bluff. They don't think I'll really do it. Danny laughed. Joke's on them. I always do what I say. Danya, it's been an honor serving with you, Lieutenant. Take care of them. Tell my story. And tell humanity that we found something worth fighting for out here in the stars. The Falcon launched, its damaged engines pushing them away from the station. Behind them, the Creth ship fired at the station. Danny activated the charges. The explosion was enormous, a miniature star being born. It consumed the station, the Creth ship, and Danny with it. The shockwave caught other vessels, destroying several more. Jake watched through the viewport, holding Elena while tears ran down his face. Kate was crying. Lisa's hands shook on the controls. Even Valeria looked sad, this ancient princess mourning a human soldier who had died to protect her daughter. He saved us, Valeria said quietly. Your species' capacity for sacrifice is remarkable. He was family, Jake said. That's what family does. They jumped to hyperspace, leaving the battle behind. The Falcon's course was set for Earth. They carried proof of the Creth's crimes, data on other sanguine survivors, and most importantly, baby Elena, the first hybrid, the bridge between species. As they traveled, Kate monitored Elena constantly. The baby was adapting well, showing both human and sanguine traits. When she cried, her voice was stronger than a human baby's. When she slept, her breathing was slower, more efficient. She's remarkable, Kate said. Her body is taking the best of both species. Jake held his daughter, looking at her red eyes. She was his responsibility now, his and Valeria's, a symbol of what could be when species work together instead of fighting. Danny should be here to see her, Jake said. He is, Valeria replied. In her, she exists because of his sacrifice. She will know that. We will make sure she knows that humans and sanguine died to give her a chance at life. They were 3 days from Earth. 3 days to figure out how to tell humanity that everything had changed, that they had awakened an ancient princess, fought a galactic power, and created a new form of life. 3 days before the galaxy would never be the same again. 6 months had passed since Jake Morrison's team had found the tomb on Cathera 7. Now he stood in front of the Human Coalition Council on Earth, holding his daughter Elena while Valeria stood beside him. Behind them, huge screens showed evidence of everything that had happened. The council chamber was filled with representatives from every human colony. Military leaders sat next to scientists. Politicians argued with explorers. Everyone had an opinion about what Jake had done. You bonded with an alien without authorization, one council member said angrily. You created a hybrid child. You started a war that's splitting the galaxy apart. I saved my team, Jake replied calmly, and I gave humanity a chance to stand up against species that have been controlling the galaxy for thousands of years. Lisa Chen stepped forward. She had spent months analyzing the data they had recovered. The Creth have been suppressing younger species for millennia. They keep us weak, divided, easy to control. The Sanguine threatened that control by uniting worlds through partnership. That's why they were destroyed. On the screens, recordings played. The Creth captain admitting to genocide, data showing manipulation of galactic politics, proof that the Sanguine Empire had been peacemakers, not conquerors. Kate Williams spoke next, presenting medical data. The hybrid child shows no dangerous traits. Elena is healthy, strong, and shows enhanced abilities that could benefit humanity. Increased healing, strength, and longevity. The bonding process is safe and consensual. Valeria finally spoke, her voice carrying power even in human chambers. I offer humanity a partnership. I will share sanguine technology, knowledge, and medical advances. In return, I ask for help finding and waking the 23 others of my kind who still sleep. Together, we can challenge the old order and create something better. And if we refuse? A military commander asked. Then I will respect your choice and find another species to partner with, Valeria said simply. But the Kreth will not forget that humans discovered me. They will come for you eventually. Better to face them as allies than as targets. The debate lasted for hours. Some leaders saw opportunity. Others saw danger. The vote was close, but finally the decision came. Humanity would partner with Valeria. The chamber erupted in arguments, but the vote stood. Earth would help find the other sanguine. They would share technology. And they would allow volunteers to bond with awakened sanguine, creating more hybrids. 3 weeks later, Jake stood on the bridge of a new ship, the Pathfinder, built with both human and sanguine technology. His team had expanded. Kate and Lisa were still with him, along with 50 human volunteers and military escorts. They used Elena's genetic code to unlock the first location from the ancient database. It led them to a planet in the Andromeda system, far from any known civilizations. The tomb was similar to Valeria's, but smaller. When they opened it, they found a male sanguine. Valeria identified him as Corvus, a general from the old empire. Corvus woke angry. He attacked immediately, seeing humans as weak prey. But Valeria stopped him, showing him Elena. The sight of a hybrid child shocked him into listening. The empire is gone, Valeria told him. We are the last, and these humans offer us a chance to rebuild, but differently, not as conquerors, as partners. Corvus studied Jake and his team with cold eyes. Humans, the primitives from the edge of space. You would have us bond with them? They are not primitive anymore, Valeria said. They have reached the stars. They have courage and adaptability beyond any species I have known, and they are willing to help us survive when they could simply leave us to die. Jake stepped forward, meeting Corvus's gaze without fear. We're offering you a choice. Work with us or go back to sleep. But if you work with us, you follow certain rules. Consent, respect, partnership, not domination. Corvus laughed bitterly. Then he looked at Elena again, seeing her red eyes and strong presence despite her young age. This child is remarkable. More than I expected from a hybrid. He turned to Valeria. You have bonded with this human? Yes, Jake Morrison is my partner and Elena's father. And it has made you stronger? Yes, Corvus was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. I will try this partnership. But if these humans betray us, I will not hesitate to fight. Fair enough, Jake said. Over the following months, they found and woke more sanguine. Each one reacted differently. Some, like Corvus, were suspicious but willing. Others embraced the chance for a new beginning. A few refused the partnership and chose to return to stasis, not ready for the changed galaxy. 12 sanguine agreed to the partnership. Each one bonded with compatible human volunteers, creating hybrid children. The process was carefully monitored by Kate's medical team. Every bonding was consensual, documented, and safe. The hybrid children were remarkable. Each one carried human appearance with sanguine abilities. They grew faster than normal humans, but not as fast as pure sanguine. They were strong, intelligent, and carried the capacity to bond with others when they matured. But not everyone in the galaxy was happy about this development. The Kreth assembled their forces. They called on old allies and used fear to gather ships. A fleet of over 100 vessels began moving toward human space. They're coming for us, Lisa announced during a tactical briefing. They'll reach Earth in 3 weeks. Let them come, Corvus said. He had become a strong ally, training human soldiers in sanguine combat techniques. We are ready, but Jake worried. Even with sanguine partnership, humanity was still young, still learning. Could they really stand against a force that had controlled the galaxy for thousands of years? Valeria sensed his doubt. You are afraid. Shouldn't I be? We're about to fight a war against an empire that has existed for millennia. Yes, but you have something they do not. Valeria gestured to the bridge where humans and sanguine worked side by side. Unity. Real unity built on choice and respect. The Kreth rule through fear. We are building something through trust. On Earth, preparations continued. Human ships were upgraded with sanguine technology. Defensive platforms were built around major colonies. And most importantly, the evidence of Kreth crimes was shared with every species in the galaxy. The response surprised everyone. Other species, tired of Kreth control, began reaching out to humanity. Some offered support. Others simply refused to help the Kreth. The old order was cracking. When the Kreth fleet finally arrived at Earth, they found humanity ready. More than ready. Human ships, upgraded and powerful, stood alongside sanguine-designed vessels. On the surface, hybrid children were kept safe in shelters while their parents prepared to fight. Jake stood on the command deck of the Pathfinder, with Valeria beside him. Elena was safe below in Kate's care. The moment he had been dreading had arrived. The Kreth sent a message. Surrender the sanguine and their abominations. Humanity will be spared. Jake opened a channel that broadcast to every ship in the system. This is Lieutenant Jake Morrison of Earth. We do not surrender our allies. We do not abandon our partners. And we do not call our children abominations. He paused. The sanguine were destroyed once for bringing peace to the galaxy. You destroyed them out of fear, not justice. Today, humanity and the sanguine stand together, and we will not fall. The battle began. It was fierce and brutal. The Kreth had numbers and experience. But humanity had something else: adaptability and allies who actually wanted to fight together. Sanguine warriors moved through space, destroying enemy ships. Human crews used tactics the Kreth had never encountered, learned from centuries of human warfare, and most surprising of all, other species arrived to help. Ships from a dozen worlds dropped into the system, choosing humanity's side. The galaxy was tired of Kreth control. The battle lasted for 3 days. Ships on both sides were destroyed. Lives were lost. But slowly the tide turned. The Kreth fleet began to retreat, unable to break through Earth's defenses. In the end, the Kreth withdrew. Not defeated completely, but bloodied. They had failed to destroy the Sanguine-Human alliance. And they had lost something more important: their image of invincibility. After the battle, Jake held Elena and looked at the stars. The galaxy had changed. Humanity was no longer alone or weak. The Sanguine were returning, not as conquerors but as partners. And hybrid children like Elena represented a new future. What happens now? Jake asked Valeria. Now we build, she replied. We find the remaining Sanguine. We strengthen our alliance. We show the galaxy what partnership really means. And Elena? Valeria smiled, touching their daughter's face gently. She grows up in a galaxy where being different is a strength, not a weakness. Where she can be both human and sanguine, and that is something to celebrate. Kate and Lisa joined them on the observation deck. They had survived everything: the tomb, the battles, the birth, the war. They were family now, bound not by blood but by shared experience and choice. Danny would have loved to see this, Kate said softly. He's part of it, Jake replied. Every hybrid child owes their existence to his sacrifice. We'll make sure they all know his story. On ear.